Hey, it's Adele from Let's Get Inkie, and I'm finally bringing you the epic flip through of this journal. If you watch my channel regularly, you would have seen many of these art journal pages, process videos. Some you haven't. If you're a Patreon peep, you would have seen some of them as well. And I have talked a little bit about my struggles with this journal. It's a Dina Wakley media journal, and I don't know the exact size, but it's probably about 7 by 10, 8 by 10 maybe. And it's the thing that I love about it is the size. It's a nice thickness, it's a hardcover. However, it has different types of paper in it, which I'll talk about as I go through. If you don't want to hear me chatting and rambling, I also am uploading at this exact same time a quick flip through just to music. Link will be in the description if you want to change and watch that one instead. But let's jump into it. So first up, this first page, I don't know if I should do something here. I don't think I will. I might just write the dates of when I started it, roughly the month, and when I finished it. This first page was done on one of my Patreon Chatterbox's video chats, and I just created some hearts, and we just had a nice little play in our art journals on that time. This one is an art journal process video here on YouTube, and any of these that have process videos, I will link them in the description below if you want to go back and watch them. This was a really fun one. I just stuck and plonked things down, did a little bit of stenciling. I really enjoy finding magazine images and kind of Frankensteining them together with bits of scrapbook paper and paint and stenciling, and then a bit of brush lettering as well. And this was some tissue paper, I think. I've got to find it again. I put it somewhere special. I do that quite a lot. I put supplies somewhere special and then lose them. This one is also a process video. I really like the bright colours of it. This was a girl from one of Jane Davenport's paper pads, and then I used some stencils down here from Darkroom Door. What I did do, so some of the pages, so the pages that were in here, there were some white pages. I don't know if it was watercolour paper or some sort of cottony paper, which in my journal it was extremely lumpy, and I think that's what put me off the plain white pages. There's also burlap, canvas, and craft brown paper. So I struggled with all four of them. I did stick some pages together, and I did take out some pages as well. Also, because I do a lot of collage and texture paste, things get a little bit chunky, and so if I didn't take out some pages, my journal would have ended up double the size. So just keep that in mind. If you have this journal at home and are using it, I've got less pages than there's meant to be. This page, I think I did on a live scrap stream on my main channel, Inkie Quill, possibly, maybe. I can't quite remember. I know there's no process video, but I feel like I did this on camera, so I don't know if it was here. Yeah, I must have done it on a scrap stream, and that was just a fun one to use up some printables and just kind of get some supplies out off my desk and onto some paper. This one has a process video, and then I ended up making these some of my printables for Patreon for that month. So I'll put the link to the description, link to the video in the description below. I really liked using whiteout as my media for this one, so I wrote this using a whiteout pen. It is tricky, and I wouldn't suggest using it if you want to have precise skinny lines, but if you're looking to have a bit of fun and do some larger brush lettering, it's a good time. Then, as you'll notice, there's no burlap and canvas pages yet, because they were my most troublesome of this. I learned some ways to work with them, but I did take a lot of them out at the start. I also didn't start this art journal from the first page to the final page. I flipped and flopped, so I did some pages at the back, then some pages at the start, then some pages in the middle, and I find that's a good way to kind of space out the chunkiness of your journal. I found that journals that I've started from the first page and just gone chronologically through the journal end up breaking the spine towards the end. So if you are experimenting with more of a chunky style in your art journal, I suggest maybe flip-flopping around in your pages and not going from A to Z in yours. This one was on another Patreon Chatterbox video chat. This one, I think it might be one of my most watched process videos here, and this is how I made the burlap work. I had to cut it. I couldn't make it work as a rectangle. I had to cut it, and so here I just hand drew a heart and cut out the burlap side, and I really love the way this one turned out because it's just a little touch of burlap. It's not a whole page. I think that's why I had trouble with it, because I was a bit overwhelmed by the canvas size of the burlap. It wasn't, I'm not used to it. I also quickly learned that it helps to gesso your burlap if you want to make it a little bit stronger. Also, if you want to make sure that things don't bleed through to the other side. So I think I used I used clear gesso on this burlap, but I put some wax paper underneath because it does go through, and just make sure if you do that you haven't got something on the other side already, because it will come through onto that because there's little holes. But I love the way this one turned out, and stenciling and the splats, and yeah, it's one of my faves. This one I actually made at a scrapbook retreat, and it's a great way to use up a whole heap of washi tape. If let's be real, we seem to accumulate washi tape. I'm just speaking for myself, but I've noticed a lot of people share my washi tape. They just seem to multiply in my stash, and the achievement of finishing a washi tape roll is right up there with life goals for anything crafty related. It's rare that I finish a roll of washi tape, so anything I can do to help me use them quicker, I do. This one was a process video. I created this page for Anzac Day. And this one I think I created off camera, I do believe. This one became a Patreon printable, and so did the little world for that one. And then this was another way that I helped battle the brownness of the craft. I know craft can be fantastic for a lot of people, but it's not my usual go-to color scheme. I'm usually more into the brights, and so I found that by adding some white texture paste through a stencil, it kind of brightened the brown a little bit. I just did some brush lettering and then used some more of my inky printables. This one was off camera. I think I just had fun. I think I already had the texture paste there. Usually if I use texture paste on another project or a scrapbook layout, I use the stencil again and just quickly slap some texture paste through it on a different page in a different journal, because it gives me an extra step another time if I want to create a page, and I only have to clean the stencil once instead of cleaning it twice. So there's a top trick to fellow lazy crafters like me. I really loved the journaling on top of this magazine image, so that's something I definitely want to try again. This one I think was in the Inky June Marathon scrap streams here on my YouTube channel, and it was, I think for a hot minute, it went through an ugly stage, and then I think this part is a napkin from Jane Davenport, and then I drew the hair. The hair for a while was looking quite troll-like, like a troll doll, and so I added these little white splatters and little white doodly bits, and I think that's what helped that one. But that's in a live scrap stream, which are saved to YouTube if you want to go back and watch them. This one I think was off camera, and this is one of the canvassy pages, and I found the canvas pages really frayed for me. I think this art journal, when I bought it, was it had been a little bashed around, and so things were a little crumpled, a little bit frayed already. So what I did to compensate the canvas pages is I cut most of them down smaller, because I had so many frayed bits and they were just coming out the side of the journal. So I cut it down and then did a coat of clear gesso over the top of it, and I went right to the edge so it was less likely to fray. And I also pulled out some of the bits down the bottom here so that the fray wouldn't start right from the edge. It had a little bit of a gap. This one was off camera. I used some of the originals that I made for a Patreon printable, and because that's what I often do, I make the things for the printables but then don't use the originals and stuff, so I just use the printables, so I have to try and remember to use the originals in it too. A little bit more brush lettering. It does drive me nuts that on the bubblegum pink Dilutions paint that it just can't hold the whiteness of paint pens on top of it. It does hold white out, but it's harder to write in, and this was just a white paint pen, so that's why this part is a little bit discoloured. This one I created at a scrapbook retreat off camera. I think this was my first page in this journal, and as you can see, it's, you know, it's not right at the start, and I like the way it turned out. It was a bit scrapbooky because at that time I was doing scrapbook layouts at the same time, so that's what I was kind of in the mood for. But just a nice simple little page, putting some printables in and doily, and just having a bit of a play with some lettering. This one was done right after this one, and this was my first experience with the canvas, and I wasn't a huge fan because I didn't really think it through. I should have thought it through, but the paint went straight through. So the back of this was all red and pink and splotchy, and it looked like blood splatters all over the back of the canvas page, which is why this one is quite dark and collaged. So I just used a stamp and then did some brush lettering, and I think I did gesso this one after I put the paint on and realised that it was going through. So there's that. This one is a process video here on YouTube, and I then made, did I make this into a printable? I don't know if I did. I meant to make it into a printable, maybe I didn't. And I just really liked the little white line around this girl. I think it really makes her pop. Then this was a Patreon video for my inspiration from a picture book series that I have over there. This one I think was off camera. I just combined a few magazine images, some doodling, and then I really like this little black section because it kind of looks like the paper's ripped and this is sneaking in behind. And I did some journaling, added a few DIY embellishments that I had made in a video, and then called this page done. Added some washi that has sadly not with us anymore. A lot of the washi tape in my stash seems to lose its stickiness. Well, it loses its proper stickiness quickly and gets really sticky. I think because in Australia it gets really hot in summer. We've had quite a few, we've had only a couple of days over 40 degrees so far this summer, but yeah, it gets really hot, and I think that's what I try to use my washi tape as quickly as possible. This one is a process video here if you'd like to see that one, and this was this a craft too? No, I don't know if they were both craft or if this one was white, but I do like the way that I kind of had the colour kind of merging onto the craft page so that it didn't look so this page. I really like to have things kind of go over the spine a little bit. This one was off camera. I just did a quote that I really liked. I just wrote it out, and I had made a background that was a bit of a hodgepodge of things, so I just did my good old technique. I love doing this with silhouettes and then painting the background black. This one was just off camera, and it's a hodgepodge of a page. There's some texture paste stenciling going on, brush lettering, some random hearts. There's just all sorts of things going on in this page. It was just a bit of a play. I think I just wanted to create something this night, and I like the way it turned out. It's not, you know, it's not my all-time favorite page, but it was fun to make, and I think that's the most important thing. That I like to focus on the process and having fun while I'm making it. After the ugly stage, there's always an ugly stage when you make something, and yeah, I like the end result, that's a win. This was one of the first pages that I made as well at that same scrapbook retreat where I bought this journal from. And I must have made it around the same time as this one, because I was really in the mood of writing on a little tiny bit of black paint. And then I cut this burlap page down again, added a colouring book page that I watercoloured, and some random bits of paper. I added white gesso on this side because I think I had put white gesso on here and it had gone through on the burlap, which is why I covered up a lot of this side. And this page it's really really thick. Then drew an eyeball, and I was really annoyed. The pink on this side, the bubblegum pink, I don't know what it is about it with dilutions, but it goes, it's got this secret like magical formula that just will not be stopped, and it goes through pages. It bled through the texture paste, and there was no way. I've repainted over this about 3 times with white acrylic paint and no luck. So it's got a pink tinge. This one was done at the scrapbook retreat, so there's no video for this. Just used a napkin. Then again did some brush lettering in pencil. This one I love this page. It was something a bit different for me. It looked a bit more sketchbooky, and I really like the look of that, kind of like I'd taken notes about paint swatches. And I think this is what prompted me to start my colour journal, which I've been doing over on Patreon, and I've been really enjoying paint swatches. They're my new favourite thing to do. So there is a process video for this on YouTube. Look at that gold. I know someone will ask, because I always get questions about this gold. It is this stuff, Cadence, and it's relief paste. Then I don't know where I got it from though. Maybe at the Brisbane Expo. I'm not quite sure what shop I bought it from though, sorry. This one has a process video as well. I actually just created some of these into January printables, and I just liked how crazy busy this was. I made this off camera, I think. Or no, I filmed it, but I did it at the same time that my husband Inky Beard was doing a Twitch stream, because I remember sitting and tracing all of these tiny little lines with a white gel pen while I was watching his stream. Then this was a Patreon video. I did some cutout work there, and I think this one might have been on a live stream too. I couldn't find a process video for it. Maybe I did it off camera and just had a bit of a play, but again, cutting that burlap down just because it was less to work with. And then this one is a process video. I've got to change the quote from Anon, because I know who it was from now, and added some printables and rainbow paint swatch. And then again, that gold chunky texture paste. The texture paste does chunk out my art journals a lot, which I'm going to try and do an art journal without any texture paste. It's going to be hard because I really love it, but I'm going to give it a go. This one was heavily influenced by an image that I found on Pinterest, so this is not my idea. I just redid it with some of my own journaling in there. This was a Patreon video, and this one's a YouTube process video. I really like the stars and all these girls. This one's also a YouTube video. I really like how bright this is. I also made this an art print, printable too. Paint swatches, again, love a good paint swatch. This was the difference between the two papers. I don't know if it's picking it up on camera, but I swatched some mermaid markers onto the white paper in this without gesso, without anything, and the colours just soaked in and they became a bit dull. So I redid the swatches on watercolour paper and they were just so much brighter, so I stuck that in. And I think behind this I had a disaster of an art journal page, so I covered it up with black paint, and you'd never know unless I just told you, and now you know, but you wouldn't really know. This one was created on a chatterbox chat over on Patreon, and it was just a bit of fun playing with some stencils and a bit of a underwatery look. This one. So I made this for a YouTube process video, and then it was also featured in Brush magazine. They did a little Q&A with me, which was really, really fun. So that was the process for that one. This one I have a feeling was also on a live stream. It's definitely not a process video, but I think it's on a live stream here on my Let's Get Inkie channel. And I just cut out some magazine images and then a poem that I found. I think it was in Daphne's Diary magazine, and then collaged a whole heap of things in the background with some stenciling on top and doodling and splatters and a little DIY embellishment. That's from my marbled embellishments tutorial here, and had a lot of fun with that. And then this was the final process video that you would have seen, the latest one. And I, if you haven't watched that already, I accidentally spilled blue paint on the back cover. I was just going to leave it like this one, but I did a big splotch of blue paint, and so I turned it into a oops and made it work. So don't, if you accidentally spill something, you can always turn it around. It might not be exactly as you planned it to be in the first place, but you can always turn it around somehow. So I hope you've enjoyed this little flip through. Thanks for your patience while I've been finishing and complaining about this album all year long. I started this, I think it was October of 2016, I want to say. But then I had a break from it for a while, and I was also working in my junk journal, my use it up journal, my colour journal, my journaling on maths journal, a square journal that I've got, and my 100-day project. So I had quite a few other journals on the go, which is why it's taken me a while to finish this. I also I had a time where I just got too frustrated with the paper, especially that burlap. And I had to have a little break from it, and I think it's okay to walk away from a journal for a while if you're feeling like it's kind of stunting you creatively a little bit, but then revisit it and try and get it done and cover up all the things that are annoying you about it and get it done. Alright peeps, thanks for listening to me ramble for this long. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It does help me out, and don't forget I'll link any of the process videos in the comments, in the description thing down below, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye!